This video is going to be a little bit different than the normal tips. I'm going to be talking about the coaching process and how I go about giving lessons and hopefully improving people's ball flight in golf. Over the winter, I was lucky enough to spend some time with Paul McGinley and watch him hit some balls and talk about his ball flight. Paul is a full-time European Tour winner. He played in 3 Ryder Cups. He captained the Ryder Cup successfully at Glen Eagles. He's also my friend and brother-in-law, so I was able to get access to him. The process that I go through when I'm coaching Paul or any player is to look at what's happening with the ball, and from that I can determine what's happening at impact, and then from that I'm looking for swing characteristics that might cause that impact. So this whole ball flight analysis process that I go through is very usual. I was certainly influenced with it from the time I spent working for Hank Haney in Dallas, Texas. So Hank is a big proponent of ball flight analysis, and I thought it might be quite helpful just to show you what goes into giving a golf lesson.
Paul still loves practicing. He plays in some senior tour events and is still a great golfer. His nemesis has always been a little bit of a hook, and that is what he is struggling with in these swings right here. Paul found some old footage of him swinging during a tournament in about 2005, and he said, "This is when my swing felt really good. This is when I was hitting the ball great. What am I doing differently here than I am now?" There were a couple of things that caught my eye. So one of them was that on the takeaway, the club was going very much underplane. And then at the top of the backswing, the club face was closed. So the face was looking a little too much up towards the sky. So that meant as the club was coming back down, it was going to be a little bit closed unless he did something to manipulate it open. And so he's trying to do that here. It's getting under plane. His body's turning through hard, but he's always fighting a hook shot. So I looked at the same elements from the 2005 swing. Although I can't make out the club face, the club is definitely swinging back on plane and it's coming down to impact on plane. So with the current swing, we had Paul swinging underneath the plane on the backswing and the downswing. But on the swings that he liked from 2005, the club is coming up and down the plane almost perfectly. So what I suggested Paul work on was on the takeaway, feeling that the wrists were just working the club head up a little bit more, so that instead of the club going under plane, it would travel up the plane a little bit more. That didn't mean that I wanted him to pick his arms up and away from him. It just meant that as the club started working back, I wanted the wrists hinging so that the club would swing back up the plane a little better. And he really started to get it great job here. And the club face is a lot more square at the top of the swing, because by hinging the wrists up, you're working the club head up too. So less looking up at the sky in this position. And that meant that as he came back down, he was able to bring the club down a lot more on plane. So it wasn't as stuck behind him as it was before we started working.
Okay, so that's how we go about fixing ball flights. We look for things in the swing that relate to the ball flight that the player is getting. So by working on his takeaway, Paul was able to eradicate some of the hook. And that's the same process that I would go through with any golfer who came for a lesson. Please subscribe to the Change Golf Instruction YouTube channel. We update it weekly with tips and ideas to help you improve your golf game.